Welcome back to Attitude, Effort, Results, presented by Teamwork Online and the Clubhouse. Today is actually, we got a little bit of energy tonight. It is a evening here as we are recording. This is actually going to be one of the fastest turnaround times that we've had on an episode. We are recording it just about a week before this thing will release. And the reason we are doing that, and I feel confident saying this publicly, is because Hunter, my partner, the only reason this thing continues to run, the guy who writes every single episode with me and does a ton of work behind the scenes, has moved again. And he has taken a role in Miami with he'll be under my former roommate, Logan Burnett, working for Formula One in Miami, growing his career again, growing him personally and getting himself to a location that he believes is impactful and important in his life. And I'm so proud of him, and I did not tell him I was going to say this before the episode, so I am proud of you, brother. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. You deserve a ton of credit for what we do here today, and I want to give you that publicly. I give you that privately a decent amount, but I want to give you that publicly. Excited to have you on our team and excited to watch you continue to grow. And I'm very excited to dive into today's episode, which is titled, What is Your Standard? Today's episode is going to have a couple twists, a couple turns. Transparently, I wish I had this episode about 3 or 4 years ago in my career. And that's why we do what we do. Is the old adage is, if you need to know where you're going, ask the person coming back, right? That's what we're doing here. I'm the person coming back saying, hey, I have messed up consistently in ways that I want to help others from doing themselves. And so the objective of today's episode is to challenge your habits, your routines, your commitments, your standards, and to focus your energy, your efforts, your mentality on the goal that you set. Again, this is all about you. We are here for you. How are we going to do that today? We are going to go into what is your standard, how you can separate yourself with your standards. Do you have an outward or inward standard? And how can we maintain the standard? If you're already sick of hearing the word standard, buckle up. We got a long one for you here today. What is your standard? And I want to define the word standard first. And I'm going to ask you a question as you're listening right now. What does standard mean to you? What does that word standard actually mean to you? Is that something that you just do consistently, or sometimes are goals something that you just go after when it's convenient? Is eating healthy something that you do when your significant other is watching you, or right before a holiday or right before going to the beach? Is going to church something you do only on Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving? Is not cussing something you only do around your parents? What is your standard? And again, I'm coming at this episode today, and I probably need to challenge myself a little bit more. I probably need to think of what my standard is. If you don't have a standard, as you think through that question, as you look through the mirror and look at what your standards are, if you don't have one, if you're like, you know what, I'm thinking through it, I don't have a whole lot of standards, then guess what? That is your standard. I've said this before. You think about your morning routine. Everybody take 3 seconds to think about their morning routine. If nothing came to mind, guess what? That's your routine. Some days I wake up at 7, some it's 8, some it's 9. I work from home, and some days I'm in my robe starting the workday. Some days I'm in a suit. Some days I go to an office. That's your standard. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm saying that's what it is. And I want you to recognize that. That's it. Are you the person who's always early, or are you the person who's always late? Transparently, this is something I've had to figure out pretty quickly here. I used to show up to meetings on time, and I like to schedule a lot of different things. I like to move fast, and I get stuck in traffic, and all of a sudden I'm 3 minutes late, and the client might not care the first time. But what about the second time? and the third time. And now 3 minutes late is 5. And now it's 5 minutes late for a year. And now people start talking about it. Let's start the meeting a little earlier. This guy's always late, right? Guys out there, how many of you have told your girlfriends, your wives, your fiancés, hey, we're leaving at 7, when you're actually leaving at 7:30? You know that they're not ready on time. Guess what? That's their standard of getting ready. You know that you have to tell them a different time. You have to actually lie to your significant other consistently because they have set that standard. And guess what? You have probably enabled them to get there. So what's your standard? What about when you go on vacation? Are you letting your standards go on vacation? I won't work out. I won't eat healthy. I won't overdrink at all during the week, and now all of a sudden you're on vacation, and now it's just willy-nilly. I wake up and get 4 workouts in during the week, but on the weekends, I'll never wake up before noon. That's your standard. Oh, no, it's just vacation, Tanner. I can do that. It's just vacation. Well, vacation might just roll into Monday, which might just roll into Tuesday. All of a sudden, a month later, you're out of your routine. That happens. I took cold showers consistently. When I was in Arizona, I got out of the habit. I got out of the standard. Haven't taken them in a couple months. If that's something I want to get back into, I'm going to have to relearn everything, all the work I just put in the past 2 years. So what's your standard? What's your standard in everyday life? Couple examples for you and where we're going here and what standards should look like or can look like. How much water are you drinking? What is your energy when you walk into a building? Do you produce energy or do you suck energy out of the room? Do people want to be around you or not? How about this? You guys probably are not going to see this coming. Have you ever heard of attitude or effort before? What is your attitude? What is your effort that you are putting in consistently? What are your standards? And then once you figure out what your standards are, so I'm asking you that question today. I like actionable steps. What are your standards? Now, once we figure out what those are, now I want to ask a more personal question to you. And I'm going to ask you this question because I love you. I truly love you. Why do you do them? Have we ever thought about why we have our standards? Why do you sleep in till 8? That's just the time I wake up. Okay, why? Why do you only cook meals at home and not go out to dinner? Well, it's just the way you do it. It's less expensive. Okay. Can you afford to go to dinner? That's something I've struggled with. We eat every meal at home. Why? Well, because going out is expensive. Okay, well, do you have the same exact lifestyle that when you were 6? Probably not. Not saying that's good or not saying that's bad. I'm asking you to dig deep into your why. A standard that I had growing up was we would have dessert after every single meal. Every meal. German dairy farmers. I mean, we would work for 14 hours. We probably burned 10,000 calories a day. That might be aggressive, but I mean, you're outside working all the time. There were days, sometimes weeks in the summer, I wouldn't put a shirt on at all because I was sweating so much during the day. We didn't have air conditioning, so I would sweat at night. And I was burning as many calories as the human body probably should at age 14 or 15 years old. And so I could eat whatever I wanted. I didn't even think about it. You would get back in, have a bowl or 2 or 3 of ice cream, put some chocolate on top, put some syrup on top. And I was a teenage boy and working all the time, so I could probably get away with that. Well, I move in with my wife, and she goes, "Why are you eating dessert after every single meal?" Like, dude, you're eating dessert like every meal. I'm like, it's not every meal. All of a sudden you start understanding the standard. Oh, yeah, it's every meal. That's crazy. Okay, I do a little bit of self-digging. Well, that's just what we did. I created a standard without ever knowing it because it's just what we did. Who's been in organizations before, around people before, and you're like, hey, why do you do that? Why do we run this play in basketball? Why do we recruit that way? Why does our athletic trainer tape ankles this way? Why do we sing a song that way? That's just the way it's always been. Okay, have we ever thought about why? So I go through this journey with desserts. Guess what? I think I'm probably addicted to desserts. Like, I love chocolate more than most people in America should ever love chocolate. Like, if chocolate was healthy for you, I'd be the number one consumer of chocolate in the world. Guaranteed. That's all I'd ever eat. But it's because of a standard that was set when I was younger that I truly, at the time, probably didn't even have control over. It was just my environment. Here's where it gets fun. I changed that standard. Okay? Now I go back home. Now all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I see that everybody eats dessert after every meal. I'm like, you guys are nuts. You guys are crazy. My whole life, 20 some years, I never understood that because I never asked myself why. And I never took a step back and said, is that something I want in my life? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that's what everybody was doing. And I never even asked myself why. So today I challenge you, why are your standards the way they are? You guys know I'm a faith-driven person. Never push on anybody. Do you pray before every meal? That is a standard. I don't care who's around you. Guess what? It's real awkward. When I'm around somebody, especially with a client, and I say, hey, give me 5 seconds. Bow my head, raise up. They might not be a believer. I might have killed the deal before it started. But guess what? That's the standard. Standard means every time. Not just praying with family and friends. Not just praying when my wife's around. Callie calls me out on that habit and standard specifically pretty often. I get home from work, I get changed, I'm ready to decompress. We sit down, I start eating, I'm hungry, I'm starving, I've been at work forever. And she looks at me and goes, what are you doing? And she gets upset. Why is she upset? Because we collectively have created a standard. And I just broke that. And guess what? You're going to make some other people uncomfortable. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. What are some other standards? Can we get some standards around drinking professionally? Not in a secluded space with your friends. My standard drinking at professional events is 2 drinks at every work event. That's it. Standard. So now, here's where it gets fun with standards. Everybody around you will actually start to conform to your standards because they don't have any. You want to separate yourself? You want to truly get ahead in life, and you want the world to conform around where you are and have influence and control and power? You want to have a fulfilling life, a gratitude-filled life? People always say, oh, like good things always happen to you. You're God's favorite. You're lucky. Guess what? We have cultivated, and you can do the same, a space, an environment, an energy where everybody will conform and be okay with my standards now. Because guess what? Nobody else does them that consistently. And that's not bragging on myself. That's saying you can do the exact same thing. My standard at work events is 2 drinks. Doesn't matter who I'm with. Doesn't matter where I am. What's your standard? If it's eating healthy and you go to a pizza party, that's going to be awkward because you're going to need to ask for a salad. Or you might just go eat a protein bar or drink a glass of milk. I don't know. What if your standard is waking up early 4 times a week and you have friends and family over, or you're on vacation, or you're with other people? You're going to have to wake up. That's the standard. It's going to be awkward. You might wake some other people up. You might piss some people off. But that's the standard. That's the standard. Standards, I want to make this clear. are not restrictions. They're freedom. Because when you set standards, you allow your mind to have more energy, more freedom to focus on things that you can go and create. Go and get more goals that you want. Go and get more gratitude. Go and get more joy in life. Because guess what? When your standard is waking up at 5 a.m., you just wake up. It doesn't matter if you don't feel like it or not that day. And guess what? Maybe you don't want to work out, but if the standard is waking up at 5 a.m., maybe you go and read your Bible. Maybe you go and meditate. Maybe you just go and watch SportsCenter because you love SportsCenter. Maybe you go and journal. But when the standard is 5 a.m., it's 5 a.m. You want to know something funny? My standard is waking up early. You guys know that. I've actually been so tired recently. We had 3 games in 4 weeks. We had 4 games in 6 weeks here. And in the NFL, we get super lucky. We don't get any days or time off. We just add to the work week. And I feel blessed to add to the work week because I get to walk into an NFL stadium. I've been so tired that I will go back into bed with Callie after my shower, after my workout. I will do a shorter workout, but guess what? The standard is waking up early, so I will actually crawl back into bed. People are like, why don't you just wake up a half hour later and you can sleep a little bit better? That's not the standard. That's not how those work. You can separate yourself very clearly, very quickly when you have these, and it starts with discipline. In order to separate yourself, you have to have discipline. How do you have discipline? Create commitments. Create commitments and start to tell yourself that you are doing these commitments. Start to give yourself praise for the little things in life that you are doing well. If you want to do 10 reps of the gym and you do 10, guess what? Say in your head or out loud if you're crazy enough like me, great job, Tanner. That was a phenomenal lift right there. Good work. You want to make 10 phone calls on 10 sales calls to prospects today and you finish the 10th one, stand up, give yourself a high five, clap a little bit, say, good work, dude. People are going to think you're nuts, but guess who cares what you think or what other people think? Not you, because you're different. You don't care what other people think. You got your own thing to worry about. You got your own family to take care of. You got your own goal and journey that you're on. You don't care what other people think. You can't rely on anybody else but yourself to set the standard. You think everybody else is going to come along with you? No. That's why people don't succeed in life. They're not wanting to do this on their own. And guess what? Newsflash. Here, you guys are going to love this one. You're going to be jumping out of your seats and ready to rock and roll after this one. It's really lonely. It's really lonely when you do that. It's pretty easy to separate yourself once you do, but it's real lonely because nobody's coming with you. So if you don't set that foundation for yourself and to give yourself praise, to give yourself the opportunity to say, you know what, great work, nobody's doing it. Nobody's coming around the corner and saying, great job, Tanner, you did 10 phone calls today. So you have to do it for yourself. What about breaking into the sports industry? The sales academy that we are putting on is helping people break into the sports industry. One of the things that we will go over consistently and intently is how often are you breaking the rock, reaching out to people? Are you hitting that rock every single day consistently, even when you don't want to, and when it's raining, and you just keep hitting the rock? If it's breaking into the sports industry, that's reaching out 10 times a week to people on LinkedIn. If you're in school, what about a habit or a standard of studying for 5 hours a week? I don't have an exam this week. I don't have to do it. Go learn something else. The standard is 5 hours. So if you don't have anything to do, go learn something. Go read a book. Go listen to a podcast. Right? How about make it your standard to follow up on a networking event within 24 hours? When you make that your standard, and everybody here can do that, right? When you make that your standard, the morning after that networking event looks different, does it not? You don't get to go out that night. You don't get to sleep in that morning. You have to write follow-ups because that's the standard, right? How about, here's an easy one. I actually am going to challenge everybody. I don't really like challenging people, but I'll do it once here today, just for you, just one time. What about set a standard for professional communication in your everyday life? No slang words in your emails, no slang words to your friends. You know how frustrating it is when somebody comes up and says, hey man, I want to get a job in sports. Can you help me? I've already told you my thoughts on this. Typically I'll say kick rocks. I don't know who you are. But let's say I'm in a good mood that day and I say, yes, I do want to help. And they talk to me like I'm their best friend from 4th grade with slang words, unprofessionalism. Why do they do that when they talk to somebody in a hiring position or somebody in the industry? Is because their standard of working everyday life and their standard of how they talk every single day is like that. And so when they come and talk to somebody on the professional side to try to get a job, they're unable to do it because they haven't set the standard of how they communicate. So how about that today for you guys, everybody out there? Can we make our conversations a little more professional? And guess what? There are times to let it loose. There are times to throw a slang word in there. There are times to talk about nothing in the game and the girls and the guys. There's time for that, right? But it's way easier to go off the path once with friends in a comfortable setting than when the standard is the opposite, to come back in a professional setting and turn it on in an instant. How about we set a standard for our finances? I'm not a financial analyst over here, but if the standard is budgeting every month, guess what? We budget every month. I've had people come up to me. This is going to sound like I'm bragging. If you know my character and my integrity, you know that's not the case. You know I'm truly giving advice. Hey, you're 27, your wife's 24, you have 3 rental properties. How are you able to do that? Well, our standard of budgeting allows us not to spend a certain amount of money. Doesn't matter if we had the greatest month of all time or if we had the worst month of all time. The standard of what we spend and how we spend money stays the same. So if I have a phenomenal month in sales, which I've had a couple of them, which are electric, when you get a paycheck that is bigger than you've ever thought in your life before, that is awesome. It's just a number on a screen, but man, it feels good. A lot of people go get a brand new Tesla, go get a brand new car, go get a brand new this, go get a new watch. Guess what? That's not the standard. Standard stays the same. What about a standard for professional development or creating new habits? Can we create a new habit once a year? Can we create a new habit? Can we go once a year to a professional development or a personal speaker or motivation? It's a standard. Third point I have for you today, as we are coming down a stretch. It's like we're coming around. How many laps are in NASCAR? I have no idea, but let's say we're 75% through. Daytona 500, that's 500 laps, right? I don't know. I'm sounding like an idiot right now probably because I don't know NASCAR that well. All right, 500 laps. Hunter's giving me a thumbs up. 500 laps. We're on lap 400 right now, so stay with me. 400 laps, 500 laps. That's a long time. Do you have a standard of looking good on camera? Or is it focused for showing up for others? Have you set goals to look good for yourself or to look good for others? Have you set a standard of how God wants you to live? Or have you set a standard of how you want to feel? That's my question for you. Who set the standard that you're living by? How was that standard set? Did your parents set that standard? Did your teacher? Did your girlfriend or boyfriend? Did they set that standard? Well, I do this one thing because my girlfriend one time 4 years ago said she didn't like when I loaded the dishwasher that way, and so now I just don't load the dishwasher. And now she gets upset at me every time I load the dishwasher, but 1,200 days ago, she told me not to do it that way, and now she's upset at me. The standard for you is not loading the dishwasher because of one time. Standard for me of eating dessert every day was set by my family. No ill intent at all. No ill intent. And that's a piece I want to get across too today. There's no ill intent in some of this stuff, right? It just happens if you let it just happen. The whole point of today and why I'm passionate about this is because you can change your life. You can change the way you do things. You can change the way people see you. You can change your career path. I know that because I've done it. But how you do that is by setting standards for yourself and understanding where they've come from before, how those were set, and where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? What can you do to break the current one? That's tough. Journal that out. Write it out. What can you do to break that old one and start a new one? Because that's going to be the toughest part, right? The sweets things haunts me to a point of now I actually, we get back to the whole chocolate thing, right? It haunts me to the point of right now I set a standard for myself. I only eat sweets 2 days a week. That's it. Doesn't matter. It could be the best thing I've ever seen in the world. If I've already had it twice that week, I don't touch it. It pains me. I dislike it a lot. But that's something I have to do to break 20 years of what has been set the standard in. And yeah, I look like an idiot sometimes. And people go, why do you not want this cookie? Somebody brought me homemade cookies at work one day, and they slaved over them, and I said no. They're like, oh, you don't like me, huh? I said, no, I do like you. I just only eat sweets twice a week. Oh, so you're too good for us. You only eat it twice a week. Guess what? You just don't think the way I do. And guess what? That person isn't listening to this podcast. You are, because you want to change and you want to grow. The last point I have for you today. So we're on lap 450 right now, okay? Lap 450. How do we maintain it, okay? We started from the top. This is the funnel that we have come down is what are our standards? How did we get here? Who helped us get here? And we've come all the way down on how to break that down, set our own, and now how do we maintain it? Bad news for you. This is the hardest part. Setting the goal is easy. Talking about the goal is easy. Starting the goal is actually easy. It's fun. It's exciting. It's new. It's actually easy. But what about when your cousin asks you to get a drink and you never seen him in this Thanksgiving? You haven't seen him in 4 or 5 years. But your standard is only one drink. And they ask you to have 2. And you're having fun. What about when you watch a Monday Night Football game, you told yourself you weren't going to do it because you were going to wake up on Tuesday, and now you're on the East Coast and it's midnight. But you told yourself you're going to wake up on Tuesday. That one hits a little home because it literally happened to me 2 days ago. Guess what? Tuesday sucked. But I was up. The workout was not good. It was actually really bad. But I was up. My wife did get extra cuddles that morning because I came back into bed because I was so tired. But guess what? I was up. How do you maintain those standards? First of all, understanding that nobody is perfect, right? But when you have a strong standard, a misstep is just one and done. You're like, oh, okay, sounds good. Did that. Guess what? Probably won't be up till midnight on a Monday night again because that's standard. Cool, got it. Lock it in. Let's go. Define the expectations clearly and write them down. Actionable steps. You guys know I love actionable steps. Define what those look like and write them down. Reflect on your values and understand what they truly matter to you. To me, let's keep going back to the sweets one, right? Why do I want 2 days of sweets? Well, transparently, both my grandparents might not be in the greatest health, and I want to be able to throw a baseball with my grandkids when I'm older. And so, is a piece of chocolate today going to kill me? No. But is 4 days instead of 2 days of sweets for the next 40 years going to kill me earlier? Probably. Right? So when I can tie that to not having a cookie, it makes it so much stronger. When you can tie something deeper into what you're doing, it makes it so much stronger. Let's go back to the finances and budgeting side of it. If you can tie a house or a feeling that you get, you can take your parents to that baseball game you always wanted to, or the concert you've always wanted to, or you can sit courtside at a game, and you can take your girlfriend somewhere to a nice dinner that you've never had before. You can stay a night at the Ritz-Carlton you never thought you'd be able to afford. Your budgeting gets easier because now that $10 coffee doesn't actually matter because you have a bigger vision. Now, when somebody asks you to go get drinks, even though you probably want to, and you actually might even like that person, and there's a game on, so you really like that, you know what? That was going to cost me $100. I'm just going to stay at home and watch the game here. That's easy for you now because the consequence is either going to get drunk and watching a football game with a friend or staying at the Ritz-Carlton with a family or friend member. Now it actually gets easy, right? Because you can compare them consistently. So anchor those to something that's bigger, and it could be bigger than yourself. For me, this podcast is bigger than myself. We are changing lives. We are creating opportunities that did not exist before. We are changing the industry with the Sales Academy. Guess what? A standard that I have to set is I have to be so diligent in my work that I have to put in time here. Every airplane ride I've taken over the last couple of times I've been on flights, it's all attitude, effort, results work. That's the standard. Right? Your standards today will dictate your opportunities tomorrow. Because guess what? Your employers, your boss's 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 boss, your coworkers, your friends, your family, they're not going to notice right away. But they will notice the consistency. And after 3 or 4 years, people are going to look at you and go, how are you doing what you're doing? And you're like, oh, I just added one habit every 6 months. Oh, I've just done this for 4 years straight now. Your standards today will dictate your opportunities tomorrow. Today we covered what is your standard, how to separate yourself with your standards, obviously the outward and inward, who are you doing it for, and then how to maintain your standard. Guess what? Leadership is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, and I want you to do what matters. I want you to do what you're passionate about. I want you to get into a career path that you absolutely love, and I want you to do it very well. I hope we can give you tips and real-life experiences to do that from somebody who was in your shoes either not that long ago or probably in the same shoes as you right now, going through these problems, situations, and strategies. Attitude, Effort, Results Sales Academy, that is coming. That is here. We have launched it 2 weeks ago, and we have 8 of the 20 spots filled. If you have not applied for the Attitude, Effort, Results Sales Academy, I would definitely do it right now because we will not have slots available for that. That is changing the industry. There's nothing like that out there right now. 20 hiring managers from across 10 different leagues in sports. We'll have 20 people. We will pair them together. I am guaranteeing 100% an interview in the sports industry. That's how much I believe in the content. That's how much I believe in the people we are bringing on. Let's inspire others and continue to grow together.